Hello friends, today I take up a new topic and the name of the topic is the role of opposition parties in parliamentary democracy of India. My lesson plan includes why is it in the news, role of opposition party in a democracy, modus operandi of opposition party to check ruling party, parliamentary democracy and its special features and merits and demerits, how to strengthen opposition parties in India, and finally conclusion. Now friends, let us start the proceedings. Why is it in the news? Chief Justice of India N.V. Ramanna said that political opposition is translating into hostility. There used to be mutual respect between the government and the opposition parties earlier, but the opposition was now diminishing. A strong parliamentary democracy demands a strengthening of the opposition parties. The framers of our constitution decided to opt for a representative democracy. It is where the minority is not overwhelmed by the majority. He said that diversity of opinion enriches polity and society. Political opposition should not translate into hostility. These are not signs of healthy democracy. A strong, vibrant and active opposition helps to improve governance and correct the functioning of the government. It is the cooperative functioning of the government and the opposition which leads to progressive democracy. These were the important contention of the Chief Justice of India, N.V. Ramanna. Role of opposition in a democracy. Friends, as you know that ruling party and opposition party are the two sides of the same coin. Constructive criticism of the government policies. What are the roles of opposition parties? Number one, constructive criticism of the government policies to hold ruling party accountable to people. Constructive opposition expose the weakness of the ruling party. Opposition parties safeguard the public interest and remind the ruling party to act for the common good. Opposition party provides checks and balances in the functioning of the democracy. Opposition party may utilize media, public meetings, agitations to reach electorate with its views. Opposition parties influence the government policy through different parliamentary committees like public accounts committees, estimate committees, public undertaking committees, or standing committee or ad hoc committees. And friends, as you know that the chief of the public accounts committee happens to be the leader of opposition in India from Lok Sabha. Modus operandi of opposition party to check ruling party. What are the methods that are being adopted by opposition party in India to check the ruling party? Number one, question hour. The first hour of every parliamentary sitting is called question hour, where members of parliament and opposition parties ask questions from ministers, and ministers usually answer those questions. 0 hour, it starts immediately after the question hour and lasts until the agenda of the day when the House resumes its business. During 0 hour, members raise matters without the prior notice. Privilege motion. It is moved by a member when he feels that ministers has committed a breach of privilege or has withheld the facts or gave wrong or distorted facts. Its purpose is to censure the concerned ministers. Again, call attention motion. It is resorted by a member to call the attention of the minister on a matter of urgent public importance and seek an authoritative statement from the concerned minister. Adjournment motion. It is supported by 50 members of the House, and all other business of the House are adjourned, and the adjournment motion is taken up for discussing the matter of urgent importance. The urgent motion must be restricted to a specific subject or of a recent occurrence. Suppose, for example, an earthquake has occurred in certain part of India and thousands of people were killed, lakhs of property have been destroyed. This adjournment motion can be called in by opposition parties to discuss the matter as to how can we start the process of relief and rehabilitation measures so that the damages can be reduced to minimum. No confidence motion. It is a strong weapon in the hand of opposition parties and they can move no confidence motion against the ruling party with the support of 50 MPs. After the discussion on certain subject, voting takes place, and if ruling party doesn't muster majority support in the lower house of the parliament, it will have to resign. Because parliamentary form of government presupposes responsibility of the executive towards lower house of the parliament. Censure motion, it can be moved against an individual minister or a group of ministers or council of ministers for censuring them for a specific policy and action. Even if the censure motion is passed in Lok Sabha, the council of ministers do not resign from the office. Finally, half an hour discussion. The speaker can allow 3 days in a week for such discussion on important public interest. No voting takes place after the discussion. And last but not the least, point of order. An opposition member can raise a point of order when the proceeding of the House do not follow the normal rules of the procedures. Resolutions. Members can move resolution to draw the attention of the House or the government in matters relating to general public interest. Now I switch over to another point. Parliamentary democracy. What are its main special features? Parliamentary government has a certain important features. These are: the head of the state is a nominal head and the real executive is the Prime Minister with his council of ministers. Majority party rule. It means that as long as a party has majority in the lower house of Lok Sabha or House of Commons, that party will be in power and will rule the country. Double membership. Friends, as you know that the ministers of the council of ministers are also the members of either house of the parliament, Lok Sabha or Rajya Sabha. And if he is not a member, then he will have to become member within 6 months from the date of his taking oath as the minister of the council of ministers. In the parliamentary form of government, now it has been converted into prime ministerial form of government, because with the passage of time, prime minister has become more and more powerful. Again, parliamentary form of government works under the principle of fusion of power instead of separation of power practiced in America. Friends, what are its merits? Parliamentary form of government leads to harmony between legislature and executive. Responsible government prevents despotism. Reasons for adopting parliamentary system of government in our country. Number one, familiarity with the system, because you know that before independence, under the Act of 1909, 1919 and 1935, our leaders were very much familiar with the parliamentary form of government. Again, our framers of the constitution preferred to more responsibility than stability, because in parliamentary form of government there is a day-to-day discussion in the parliament and government is held responsible. But in American system, it is a periodic assessment of the government, where after 4 years, or in the case of House of Representatives, after 2 years, elections are held in America. But in our case, Parliament keeps a tab upon the functioning of government. So our framers of the Constitution preferred more upon responsibility than stability. And again, in the parliamentary form of government, there is always a good relationship between legislature and executive. And friends, as you know that in American system, there is always the possibility of a struggle between Congress and the President of America. But in our Constitution, such thing doesn't happen, because our Prime Minister or Council of Ministers are also the member of the Parliament. In parliamentary form of government, wider representation is given to different sections, interests and groups or regions of our society in consonance with our pluralist society. Our framers relied more upon day-to-day assessment of the government by members of parliament through questions, resolution, adjournments, debates and no confidence motion, instead of periodic assessment done in the American system. How to strengthen opposition in our country? Number one, the presence of vigilant opposition is necessary for a vibrant democracy. Weakening of opposition parties may lead one party rule, which can be converted into dictatorial rule. The parliament will lose the confidence of people if opposition party become weak or negligible. Opposition parties must become credible and strong. It must feel the pulse of the people. They should work constructively. Mere attacking the PM or the Council of Ministers or ministers will not serve any purpose or will not bring legitimacy in the eyes of the people. A stoppage of horse trading and blatant use of money power is must. And friends, we have seen how in the case of Maharashtra, Madhya Pradesh and in other states like Goa, Manipur earlier, how horse trading took place and how the ruling party at the center made their government in the respective states. Change in the Anti-Defection Act, Parliament must amend this law and Supreme Court must intervene so that no government is toppled within 5 years by resorting to extra constitutional devices or methods. The vendetta politics of the ruling party against the opposition members must stop. The government machinery like ED, income tax, CBI authorities should not be invoked only against the opposition members. The three opposition formations like Congress, Mandal party like Samajwadi party in UP and Rashtriya Janata Dal in Bihar and left party like CPM in West Bengal, they should orient themselves to fight against ruling BJP. We have seen that how Congress was decimated in 2019 election, and when it was pitted directly against BJP in 186 seats, it lost 177 seats to BJP. This is not a good sign for our vibrant democracy and for the better health of our opposition parties. Friends, for the last two elections in 2014 and 2019, Congress could not muster even the 10% of the membership of the total members of Lok Sabha, and so it did not get the post of leader of opposition in Lok Sabha. Congress should adopt socialist and secular ideologies and its role in the freedom struggle and projects itself as pro-poor party. Similarly, Samajwadi Party and RJD should make broader social base, and instead of a party of the combination of Muslim and Yadav, its social base must be wider in order to encompass other caste or class also. Friends, as you know that there are three elements for the strengthening of a party. Number one is leadership, number two is organization, and number three ideology. Congress should decide over its leadership. Its organizations are in tatters in different parts of the country. It should revamp its organization. And third, its ideology must be clear, and that ideology should be secular and socialist India. And its great sacrifice during the freedom struggle. So Congress should not deviate from these ideologies and should not play on the pitch of BJP. That is a aggressive Hindutva. Similarly, Communist Party should reorient themselves in Bengal and other states so that it should not lose its political relevance in Indian politics. BJP and its Hindutva policy did not make dent into Kerala, Tamil Nadu, Andhra Pradesh, Telangana and Bengal because the linguistic, cultural and sub-nationalism principle nullified aggressive Hindutva ideology. BJP will have to reorient itself to make effective in these states so that it can be an all India party like Congress in earlier days. Conclusion: a strong opposition in parliament is essential for the good functioning of democracy. Otherwise, democracy will become dull and legislature will become submissive. People will lose the interest in the functioning of parliament. This situation will make our democracy paralyzed. And if such thing happens in our country, this will be a black day for the growth of our democracy and the hard-earned freedom from foreign domination. Thank you very much.